Hey everyone, the beginning of this video is a pure guide of the loyalty level 1 traders and the items I recommend you buy from them at a sort of mid-wipe situation where everyone else is assumed to have better gear than you, although the guide is probably applicable from the start of wipe as well. Then we're going to go into how to do the first quest in very short words that will unlock the trader Jaeger for you. And once you have Jaeger as a third step, I'm going to showcase some of the weapons that I think you should be using from Jaeger Loyalty 1, in addition to the rig unlock and other things you get from unlocking this trader. At the end of the video, I'll be including a couple of clips, and the clips are from me running my level 1 account for about 4.5 hours on stream live, where we managed to end up with, I think, a 60% survival rate and a like 10 KD straight up. I was running the recommended weapons the entire time, and I feel like it went really well. I'm actually quite happy with the results. So these are your options for starting kits at loyalty level 1 that I think are viable straight out the gate. None of this includes things you can get from Jaeger, because you first need to do a quest to get Jaeger. And once you do get Jaeger, you actually unlock the ability to get quite a lot more better stuff. For instance, the 76239 Repro KM here. I wouldn't recommend this to a new player, even though a lot of people do. And the reason people do is that quite far into wipe, people are running PS 76239, and it's very good. It does damage, it penetrates level 3 armor. It's a very usable round. The problem is that you're probably starting in the middle of wipe rather than starting right at the beginning of the wipe. So people have armor that defeats this round. And so my plan, my tip for players who are starting out, is to either use ammunition like this, which actually breaks through most armor and does damage, in the Mosin, or ammunition like the PPT or PSV in a Keter, which will defeat legs. And the entire idea is legs. You don't shoot the armor, you don't try to shoot them in the head, you just leg their ass. The same idea with the PPS Age. The best I can find for you to run if you're going to use the PPS Age is going to be the AKBS. This round penetrates absolutely nothing in the entire game. It does no damage to armor. To legs, though, I think it does 60 per shot. So it'll kill them pretty fast, and the gun fires rapidly. It has a fire rate of 1,000. So that's our strategy, basically. I included the VPO-136 just because it is very usable. It's like 30,000 to buy one of these. And as you can tell, the difference between one that has been kitted out to be as good as it can and one that's just stock is very little, like 44 to 47 ergo, 115 recoil to 109 recoil. Like, this gun on the right here costs about twice as much as the gun on the left. So this is about 80,000, and this is about 30,000. But what I would say is, if you're going for the 30,000 cheapo option, you should replace things like this wooden handguard with an AK-100, because that allows you to put a grip on it. And you don't have to buy the grip, you can just find a grip in Raid. Further, you can buy flashlights from Peacekeeper or Skier, put those in a ring mount, put the ring mount on that, and now you have a flashlight on your gun, and you can do night raids. The last thing is that you take off the Molot dust cover and put a Bastion on there, which I guess you can't do until you take off the rear sight as well. And boom. This is a gun that costs like maybe 45,000, I think, instead of 34,000. So you're spending more money. But if you find a scope in a weapon box, if you find a grip in a weapon box, you can loot it onto the gun instead of having to put it in a backpack. And I mean, it'll be easier to aim with. So that's it. The additional tip is always have a backpack as large as you possibly can. Recruits are for sale right at the beginning of the game. Until you get Jaeger, the biggest rig you can buy is a bank robber, but it's pretty much fine. Jaeger starts as a locked trader, and to unlock him, you complete the quest Introductions from Mechanic at level 2. You can do this immediately if you just examine all of the items in the trader's menus until you level up to level 2, log out of the game, log back in, accept the quest, and run Woods as your first raid. understood. Once you've unlocked Jaeger, that gives you access to the Umka rig, which is obviously much larger than the bank robber. It's about twice as large, actually. It gives you access to LRMPC for the PBSH. This ammo has decent minus recoil and does about like 62 damage or something per shot. Can't remember the exact value, but this is one of the better options you have, which is leg meta PPSH. Also gives you PSV, which is not a tracer round for the Keter, but it is the highest damage round until you can get to SP7, I believe, which is the high tier meta round for Keter. So PSV will hold you just fine. It'll do a lot of damage. It's not tracer, so they can't see as easily where you're shooting them from. And I think once you get Prepper level 2, you can also get a suppressed Keter, so you can kind of upgrade your stealth with this thing. Other options that unlock with Jaeger, all of this, by the way, is Jaeger. The VPO 215 Gornestay, this is like an alternative to running Mosins. And it's a bit complicated. It's not just like better than a Mosin, but it is a sniper rifle that at loyalty level 1, you can put a scope in a UTG 25, specifically the Pilat, and that just goes straight on the gun. And now you have a terrible field of view, but it's got zoom. So like if you're on a map where you need to shoot someone 100 meters away, this is a lot better than iron sights. Beyond that, you can also put a TKM suppressor on it if you take off the muzzle cap. And now you have a suppressed sniper rifle at loyalty level 1. The other thing that the suppressor goes on is a VPO 209. We also need to take the thread protector off. Put that on. And this is what I actually recommend compared to this. Some people recommend the gun on the left, shooting 7.62 39, and I don't, because we're trying to set ourselves up to start in the middle of a wipe when people have a lot better gear than us, and trying to shoot them the same way they're trying to shoot us makes no sense. You'll do like 50 damage, and it has a 30 pen, I think. So it'll pen level 3, kinda. It won't pen level 3 for sure, and it'll do 50 damage. The alternative that I propose is that you run a VPO 366, put a suppressor on it, and now you're safer because they can't hear you as easily. And then the other thing that you do is that you run FMJ ammo. Some people are going to tell me, no, you need to run EKO, Al, because EKO is better. EKO is a better round if you're trying to headshot people, if you're trying to shoot them at range, if you're trying to penetrate level 3 armor. Yes. But EKO does, I think, 60 or some damage, maybe 70. FMJ does 98. So FMJ will completely black out someone's leg. Even if they have like Chad meta gear and they're wearing level 6 armor, this will break their leg immediately. People who have broken legs can't move very fast, so you can shoot the other leg as well. And then you can just keep shooting them in the leg. Any damage done to a leg above the damage it can take spreads to the rest of the body that is still fine. So you do 98 damage to the leg, meaning 30 something spreads to the rest of the body. You shoot the other leg, or the same leg again, now 98 damage is spreading to the rest of the body. It's better. Straight up. Because trying to defeat them in places where they actually have armor doesn't make sense when they have much better gear than you. So therefore, VPO, FMJ, and once again, all the mods that we put on this gun, or on the cheaper version, they also go on the VPO 209, because these are modular systems that take the same mods. So you can mod this out just as much as you want, but you also get a suppressor. Moving on from that, we have sort of an alternative to running the VPO, I guess. And I think this is going to be a better user experience, but you're not going to get a suppressor, because you can run the OP SKS, sold by Jaeger straight up for rubles. You can buy a PSO1 from Prapper for rubles. Put that on there. Now you have a 7.62 39 gun with a really good scope. Like, this is a 4x zoom, and honestly, it's extremely usable. You don't have to change out the magazine or anything. This is a top-loading gun, so like don't buy more of these and try to reload them. Just have bullets in your inventory loose, and when you hit the R key, your PMC will start putting bullets into it. And now, the thing that I fell in love with this wipe, but had never used before, to be perfectly honest. The MTS 25512. This thing, it's not the best shotgun. It isn't, it just isn't. But it is a cheap as hell shotgun that has a semi-automatic mode, which I think it calls double action, yeah. Single fire means that you have to cock the action of the gun yourself manually after every shot. Whereas double action, it does it automatically. And so you run this thing in double action. You use 5x25mm buckshot, because 7mm just loses too much velocity. So you load it up with that. And it's a revolver, so you have to load it 5 times. You can buy the target ring from Jaeger. Slap that on there. And then when you're aiming at people, an additional tip here is don't put them in the middle of the crosshair. Put the top of the ring crosshair that comes with this kind of like at their head, almost like here, I would say. So that is my recommendation. You can also use this to shoot them in the legs, obviously, because it's buckshot. It'll spread out. It'll do a ton of damage. Again, the LRMPC goes with the PPSH, and the PSV would go with the gun I'm currently using, the Keter. If on a scav run or on a PMC run, you manage to find yourself a damaged scav ADAR, there is a sort of age-old trick you can do with this, which is to go to Skier, loyalty level 1, and buy the ADAR 215-556 carbine. This thing, when you replace it on the damaged ADAR that you found in Raid, will make the ADAR a completely fine ADAR again. This is literally the main component that makes it an ADAR. Which is kind of crazy, but that's how it works. So I'm just pulling all the parts over. I can even pull the ammo over. And this ADAR is now totally fine. 100% durability. The thing about getting a scope is that we can look at the other side. Could have been in front of me. Ooh. You see that, by the way? You see that? If that is not a Keter endorsement, I don't know what is. How many of you are there? Oh my god, it's you guys.
Понятно.
Alright, so that's how you complete checking, chat. So before you go get the golden pocket watch, it's very important that you kill 2 PMCs, Rashala, and all of his goons, and then you can get the pocket watch. Just like that. I'm gonna hide from your angry comments now. Oh god, you pushed. Whoop! Yeah, allow me to just reload the gun. It takes a while. That's why I don't like this one as much as the Benelli. I busted his armor, which I would have instead taken. Like, see, that works really well when you actually line it up properly. That's Rishala. Do I try to kill Rishala with a shotgun? I think that's a pretty bad idea. I'm starting to feel like EKO sucks. What happened to the guy we shot over here? He's severely injured and dead now. And that's the end of the video. I hope you found it useful. I hope it helps you in the future. You'll probably be fine if you can't unlock Jaeger right away, just running the loyalty level 1 things. I do think unlocking Jaeger should be a priority because having a larger rig allows you to loot more, which then allows you to gain more money even though you might be dying more than you're actually surviving. And that, my friend, is natural.